Hey, Auburn Tigers. This is Ryan Russell, Director of Athletic Performance for Football. Good to be with you today virtually. Hope everyone's safe. You and your family are safe during these times. Obviously, a little bit different than what we've done in the past. Bummed out I can't get with you guys in person, but this will be good too. Hopefully, we'll see it this time next year again. But really good. I want to get into the offseason first. Really good offseason coming back after the 2019 season. You know, one of the big things that helped us have a good offseason was we were very injury free, throughout the season. So we didn't have any long-term injuries that we had to kind of work around once we got back in to off-season training. But once we got back in off-season training, we had 7 weeks to establish a good foundational base for our guys. Really good 7 weeks. It was neat to see some of the kids that, haven't done a whole lot for us during their time here, but you could tell that they're ready to take the next step. And guys starting to mature a little bit, take things a little bit more seriously. So our first 4 weeks, we were on a 4-day split with the student athletes. So we trained Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesdays was what we call their day of overtime work. That day is geared specifically to their individual needs and deficiencies. So they would come in on their own and they have 15 to 20 minutes of corrective exercise work that they would get done on those Wednesdays. But for the first 4 weeks, it was just myself and my staff with them. And then the last 3 weeks before we got to spring break, we went to a 3-day split. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we lifted. And then Tuesday and Thursday, we had early morning workouts with my staff and the coaches. And the coaches got to work with them a little bit, challenged them during those Tuesday and Thursday mornings. Specifically, it was really good work, to see what guys were willing to push themselves, seeing guys that necessarily didn't push themselves as much in the past. Like I said earlier, we saw guys take that next step. So that was exciting to see. And then, so very pleased with the progress the guys made, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. And then, that Friday, March 6th, we had our pro day, our NFL pro day, which was great to see, more organizations. Every single NFL organization was there, but there was probably more GMs and head coaches than I had seen at any point during my career here, which was awesome. That shows you we're on the right track as far as the type of athlete we're recruiting and developing here. So that was exciting to see. Was really proud of the guys and how they performed, and that's the thing we discussed with them. It wasn't just that day of testing during pro day or that day that we had the guys go up to Indianapolis and perform at the NFL Combine. These guys have been putting work in for 3-4, years now. And every day that we train is geared towards them performing and setting a personal record, whether it be at the NFL Combine or whether it be a pro day. So a lot of the guys were able to do that, which was exciting. And we also, I think another neat thing that happened this past offseason was we had 8 guys stay on campus to train with us for the NFL Combine and for Pro Day. And every year it seems like we're adding a guy or two, but I think that just shows you what we have going down in the athletic performance area. And the guys are bought in that they want to stay with us to train with us because they've seen the results that they've gotten throughout their career, and they trust us to continue to help them to continue to progress and set those new personal records. And I always go into this, it's not easy, as the guys get through their career and their training age increases. That first year is the year what we call free strength and free speed. We can do sprint work, we can do push-ups, sit-ups, and those sort of things, and our guys are going to get better. But it gets a little bit more challenging during their careers. The longer they're with us, it gets more challenging to get them better. But with the resources that we've been able to accumulate through the years and gain, we're able to help those guys develop long-term, which is what it's all about at the end of the day. So that was something that was really exciting. Hitting on the early enrollees, I get asked about that a lot. Really good group of guys that came in early, high character, high IQ guys. When they came in, we set a goal for them. The last early enrollee class from last year with Bo Nix and Owen Papo and those guys, they hit a 3.2 cumulative GPA. So when these freshmen got onto campus, we sat down and set a goal to beat that. And they ended up surpassing that at the end of the spring semester. Their cumulative GPA was at 3.55, I believe. So they did a phenomenal job, not only physically gifted, but guys that just take other areas of their life seriously. And that usually ends up, showing on the field. So really excited about those guys. Obviously, Friday, March 6th was pro day. Then we went on to spring break from there, and that's when everything went down. So luckily, during that spring break, we gave the guys a workout that was it was a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or 3-day workout during spring break that they were responsible for getting done. And a lot of it was body weight exercises with very minimal equipment. So when we got back from spring break, obviously we had already heard that campus was shut down for the rest of the spring and the guys were going to be doing the rest of their classes for the rest of the semester online. So the first week of that, back from spring break, we ended up reaching out to all the student athletes, finding out what their situations were. First off, finding out how they were, just themselves and their family, and that they were healthy and everything was all right. And then from there, we got into where they were at, what do they have access to, what do they not have access to. And as you can imagine, that we had a mixed bag of things. Early on, a lot of guys had access to gyms, and then 2 weeks later, none of them had access to gyms. So what we ended up doing was we came up with 2 workouts, and one was the body weight only workout, with speed and conditioning days as well. And then the second workout was a workout with guys that still had access to equipment, whether it was a home gym or whether their high schools they were able to go to their high schools to train. And a lot of guys just had kind of a mixed bag, like I said earlier. So it's basically what they had access to, and the things that we really emphasized were controlling the controllables. Like every single guy could get outside and get their sprinting in and their conditioning in and keep social distance. So that's what we really emphasized early on and have really continued to do so. So that's worked out well. And then now as we've gone, some of the states are starting to open things back up, and some of these facilities are starting to open back up. And so some of these guys now that are on the body weight only workouts are starting to transition to the lifts. But the biggest thing for me and my staff is just to be in constant communication with the guys. We're consistently checking up on them weekly, always finding out how they're doing as people first and foremost, and then, as players, and helping them any way we can. And that's one of the neat things for me, I think, during this time is just continuing to help them out through the process, and not only answering questions about training and strength and conditioning, but things, in life, how I'm feeling about things, and just asking them what they're learning about themselves during this time. And, that's been great. And we have 118 guys, I think, on roster right now. So for me, it's a lot of work reaching out to these guys. And that's why I'm, blessed to have the staff I do. All my staff members have been with me for the last 7 years. We have Anthony Kinsey, one of my assistants, who's been with me the whole time, played for me at Arkansas State, played for Coach Malzahn, obviously. Then Connor Milkey, another assistant that does a lot of our sports science and data collection. He's been with me for 7 years. Brian Tatum, another assistant who helps out a lot with our screening process and our assessments, been with me 7 years. Andrew Williams, former player, back in 2013, so he played here, went through the system, went through the program, and kind of was on some other programs for the last couple of years. He's been back since January. And then we got Malcolm Hardman as a graduate assistant and CJ Tolbert as an intern. CJ used to play here as well. So got a great staff that's enabled me and helped me execute the plan we've had for the guys during this time. But, it's been different. There's no class you can take, no textbook that's going to prepare you for something like this. But I think we've handled it as best as we possibly can, with the circumstances. And the leadership's been second to none, all the way up from the administrators, all the way through Coach Malzahn and through the football staff. The communication has been huge. It's been great. Obviously a lot of older coaches, and I guess I'm in that category now too, with the technology, learning how to figure all that stuff out. So guys like Bo Larkin have been awesome. And there's really been no hiccups. I don't think it could work out any better than it has from a technology standpoint and from a communication standpoint. So, it's been great. It's been different, but sometimes too, we always talk about the great ones adjust. And I think our organization from the top to the bottom has adjusted extremely well to these challenging times. And like I said, we're going to be better from this, on the other side of it, we're going to be better. But I know our coaches, I know our athletes, I know our administrators, everybody's itching to get back and, to get back training and get back around one another, keeping our social distance, obviously. But we're ready to take that next step and get back around one another and get ready for the 2020 season. But really appreciate y'all having me on virtually. Want to thank the Auburn Alumni Association and the club leadership, for having me on. And thank you for everything you do for Auburn athletics and Auburn football. War Eagle.